Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and for extra support I do everything on Patreon, and any kind of updates and such I usually go about on Twitter, X platform. Yesterday I didn't manage to get about and doing some live streaming, but I did manage to publish the latest VOD from around 2 days ago, so it's in line. It's been relatively better in terms of processing the streams YouTube, and I also did Dead Space remake, another episode. We are middle of the game kind of there, so yeah, I think around 20 episodes or so we should be finishing the game, kind of a deal there. What else? I still got my theories here. They're being receiving good feedback. One of those is America and the Glomite Queen are sisters, and what is or who is Melina? Sorry, not Melania. Melina. Kind of exploration there in terms of the my theory things there. But yeah, everything else is here on the main page of the channel. Later today I will try to get around and stream a little bit so we can see if I can explore a little bit more of Faramazula and go about that, see when we can face Malekith. But yeah, let's go to the news. A little bit of a continuation of the XFX, the GPUs here from AMD, with the detachable fans, which is a very interesting thing. Seems that again, yesterday I discussed this. It's something that it probably happened to me one time, maybe, with the GPU fans in 20 plus years of having GPUs with fans. I'm from the time that the first GPUs, the Voodoo stuff there, I remember those. It was like a chip without a fan. But yeah, basically it happened to me once, but again, I believe depending on your system and like temperatures and the such, probably like defects of production, it might happen to a certain degree. And at least we having a solution that that enables you to replace one single fan in case it goes bust. I think it's a plus there. Even though again they are introducing what they call the MagAir series, so basically everything naming scheme with MagAir from XFX is going to have this this solution here. The only issue here is pricing. Again, they are AIBs. They are at this moment in time they're a little bit more expensive than the MSRP to a certain extent. Even though yesterday I couldn't, I didn't know that. Yeah, the 7900 XTX, the MSRP is still $1,000, which is interesting enough. I think that is something that they should already alter to around $900 or 899, something like that, to make it more appealing in terms of at least the official pricing, given that basically even all the cheapest AIB stuff from this XTX GPU is around that value. And yeah, basically they launch 3 variants, at least for the international market, given that the thing that they launched the first GPU with this kind of solution was called the what? Phoenix Nirvana. Basically this naming scheme is basically for only Chinese market, at least so far, at least that GPU in specific. But yeah, the international thing is going to be MagAir thing, and it's going to have, in the case of the 7800 XT and the 7900 XTX, which is only the 2 versions that are going to be from the GPU lineup, going to have this solution at this moment in time, and the 7800 XT will have a black and a white variant. And again, they are a little bit around $50 above the MSRP from the 7800 XT, and again it's on the MSRP, official MSRP value on the XTX GPU, even though again, as I mentioned, most of the GPUs, the 7900 XTX are around $900 or lower, on that borderline there. But yeah, other than that, I think this is a good thing. I got myself at the time when I built my PC almost a year ago. I bought the 7900 XTX, but this from this brand XFX. It's the Mark 30 310, whatever. It's got a long name, a very confusing name, but it's from this brand. But yeah, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. Don't have any. I have the normal issues that anybody has with the PC. Sometimes one game might crash here and there. If you push too much on certain things, you might get less performance. The usual stuff. Again, no system is perfect, but other than that, I don't have any complaints. It's the normal stuff of having a PC. So again, I'm pretty satisfied. So far I've been able to play so far the 4K 60 around that at least. On high or very high settings, and that's my sweet spot for me, mainly because of the type of games that I play. Usually I aim for I'm very comfortable with 4K 60. I don't need always 4K 140 frames per second, but again, some games, of course, the older games will reach that high of a frame rate. But yeah, other than that, I'm pretty satisfied with this brand and with the AMD GPUs. Again, eventually I will upgrade one of these days, but at this moment in time I don't see the need to, or trying to push myself in talking and buying the next generation here. I think it will serve me well, at least for the next year or so. So yeah, again, I always tell you the good product, it's always dependent on the price of that product there, the bottom line there. But yeah, this GPU seems okay. Again, it will be better if they were more close to the main line where the GPUs are. In the case of the 7900 XTX, I think this GPU will be a huge seller if it was around 850, give or take, around that price point. And again, the 7800 XE seems to be a pretty good medium range GPU. If it were around the 400 kind of a thing there, 450 maybe, I think it will sell a little bit better. But then again, got the competition to take in account for. But yeah, basically hardware, this is what I got. In terms of games and such, I think this is a thing from an interview here with Indiana Jones in the Great Circle targets wider audience with puzzle stealth over gunplay. Again, my main concern with this is the wider audience, the justification of a wider audience. Yeah, we'll be seeing a little bit of this talking points with either wider audiences, modern audiences, all that jazz, and I really don't like that much that kind of conversation, because it can imply a lot of stuff here, very vagary kind of discussions here regarding audiences, especially on this matter. I usually don't like that much, even though, again, this is Indiana Jones, this is a pulp character, a very specific era. How the character behaves and works, it's very in line with the pulp fiction kind of a thing there. And yeah, even the Indiana Jones character is not, well, it's not known for shooting, so that's why I always refrain myself of getting very hyped up for games that make the Indiana Jones games more like a shooter thing. Again, this character is inspiration for Tomb Raider, Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series and such. It's more about a platformer to a certain degree and a puzzle solver kind of vein in terms of games, and I think they're trying to go about that, but in a first-person way, which, again, I'm not really sure if it is the most suitable kind of viewpoint of doing a puzzle and platformer. But yeah, that is the strength of Machine Games. They are very well known of doing Wolfenstein, which is basically an FPS with big guns and such. And again, those games are pretty good, exception with Youngblood, which is the latest in the mainline series there. But yeah, they are trying to appeal to the core tenets of the character, in the sense that he's more about trying to use his wits, and using the whip, solving the puzzles, exploring stuff there, which is basically the gist of the Indiana Jones kind of a thing there. And basically, I think even in the free movies, uh, again the original trilogy, I think he only uses the weapon like twice. The pistol, it got the famous scene of he shooting the swordsman. Um, yeah, he doesn't use that much the weapons per se. The weapon of choice is mainly the whip and sucker punching people. Basically, that's it. That's why I think something like third person. But again, then we encounter the studio that is very well known of doing FPS, so it's their strength there. But yeah, the only thing that worries me is the wider audience than previous hardcore shooters. I don't know if it is the again, that's why you need to some more context in this kind of things. I'm not sure if he's talking about the audience that people are used to getting from machine games like the Wolfenstein, if they associate immediately and then trying to associate that now Indiana Jones is going to have machine guns all over the place. Yeah, he used also machine guns in the Last Crusade on the castle when he rescues his father. He used that. It's like the second time he uses like at least that I can remember top of my head. Yeah, it's not very well known on using guns, and something that I think to a certain extent that he tries to avoid to a certain degree. But yeah, yeah. Hopefully, again, the last trailer from Xbox Showcase seems a little bit weird, very cinematic. I don't know what they're trying to achieve there. It seems a little bit clunky, even though the atmosphere itself seems good. But I don't like that much the fact that on that trailer he has like a side character all the time. Um, Again, he usually has some side characters here and there, but it's more about the interaction. One of the side characters is his love interest in the first movie to some degree. The second one is short, uh, which is basically some kind of a kid that he rescues from, and then he got with the other love interest, and then finally we got basically his last game, which is father. Basically, is his sidekick to a certain degree. I don't know if they're trying to make this girl a love interest, even though he's not kind of a womanizer. At least he's not known for that. He's got one or two love interests, but he supposedly then marries with Marion. I don't know. Other than that, yeah, we'll have to wait and see for reviews. Again, the villains are the Nazis, of course, but yeah, we'll have to wait about this side character here, what is all about there. But yeah, hopefully this will go to be a pretty good puzzle and stealth game, hopefully. But yeah, you never know with this kind of things, especially being on an umbrella of Xbox, and we already covered like the guidelines of being inclusive and all that acronym mafia stuff there. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And regarding Xbox, there is some rumors here that they have secured a deal with the Assassin's Creed creator, and also he was a creator of Prince of Persia: Sands of Times, the original one. Again, this guy was the directive creator of the first three Assassin's Creed games, so the original Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed 2, and Brotherhood. Those are basically like the most well-renowned Assassin's Creed. So the first one and the Ezio trilogy are the most more endearing to the community in terms of the Assassin's Creed games. And from Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, it was a pretty good game for the time, even though some mechanics might have aged not that well. But yeah, this guy in the meantime founded Panache Digital Games, which made Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey, which is that weird game that you play as an ape and you supposedly start 1 million years ago and try to get around and go about the evolution of monkeys being men. It's interesting. Is an interesting game, but I never played it. it was not something that I was very interested in at the time. But similarly, he got like a project on the site that is trying to make, which is 166 Amsterdam, which basically the elevator pitch is: do you want to play the devil in 1666 Amsterdam by the guy who did Assassin's Creed and the Successors? Again, I don't know. This is just rumors, but the rumors come from supposedly somebody. This leakers saw graphical evidence that was an agreement signed. Again, an agreement is not. This might be kind of MOU kind of a thing, which is a memorandum of understanding, which is something to get things started off. Doesn't mean that there is like a signed deal, payments were made, and now they are waiting for the product. I assume it's more on those lines. It's kind of understanding that you are going to deliver a pitch and kind of rough guidelines for the game that you want to do and see how it goes and work our way through it, even though supposedly this project has a 2026 or 2027 release date, which make things a little bit closer than that we are used to in terms of gaming development, given that this is basically 2 to 3 years from now. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for more news. I will try to keep tabs on this one if something else comes up. But yeah, see, it is interesting given that he was the directive creator from the first 3 Assassin's Creed game, the original one, Assassin's Creed 2, and Brotherhood, and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which is one of the better Prince of Persia, which basically start off the reboot of the franchise there. And then afterwards we got Prince of Persia Warrior Within and other stuff there. But yeah, this one is not a bad one. But yeah, I will try to keep my tabs on this one. Then we got another studio closing down. Wizardry, again, developer. Galvanic Games shuts down. Again, the game didn't make enough sales for them to be viable until the next project comes along and be completed. Basically, that's the gist of what I got from here. And yeah, another studio closing down. Again, I think this was an indie studio. Even though they have supposedly encouraging conversation on DICE and Game Developers Conference, the process of signing new projects, even in a good year, takes longer than the runaway we had left. But yeah, basically they will be run out of money before anything could be done. Hopefully the budget for severances and all that jazz is available for this. But yeah, again, I think it's a trend that, again, the trying to go for there is still a little bit of remnants there of companies want make games as a service. Again, there is so much time on the day for people to get around and play games, so I don't think this is like it's a huge competitive market. Your game has to be very excellent, and again, people don't want to play a game forever, the same game forever. And to try and stretch the of people investing time on your game, you will always have to be on a constant race to get new content, improving mechanics, updating stuff. You have always tried to be on the edge to try and keep and try to grow your game. And I think it's a very difficult thing to do on the ED scene. But yeah, it's another studio closure. And then lastly, we got here the Wukong thing. I started to pop out, at least on my Twitter and to a certain degree YouTube feed yesterday, at least that I noticed. Basically, the gist of it is basically the acronym mafia, as I've been calling it to a certain degree, and their consultancy firms. Basically, they are not even a scam. They are shit. I completely forgot the name that I wanted to use. The shakedown racket. The racket. That's the word I wanted to use. I'm sorry. Sometimes I blank on words on English. Yeah, basically it's a racket. And I heard some stuff or seen some tweets here and there that it's basically a 30 billion annual $30 billion market this consultancy, this acronym mafia consultancy business. Yeah, that's why you're seeing a lot of vocal people around this thing. Again, it's a business they need to maintain, and a racket they have to maintain. And to a certain degree, the racket itself is basically a scam, which is not. Again, the 30,000 feet overview of this situation is again, there is some financial incentives on this one, but then you got greedy people in the middle that are not even trying to cater to the audience, which is basically the customer base. So they are trying to make a product not to be in service of the customer base that they have. They are trying to make the customer base to the product they want to sell, which is something that any kind of free-ish market, when you're trying to sell a product, you have to cater to your audience. It's not the audience, they have to cater to your product. That doesn't work. There is no case study where that basically worked out. And yeah, basically this comes about because the developer studio, the Game Science Studio, basically they were trying to be extorted out of paying $7 million to DEI consultants, even though the Sweet Baby Inc. was called by name. I don't think it was this particular DEI consultancy firm that was on the trying to shake down the studio there. But it is in line with the philosophy of Sweet Baby Inc. We got resurfaced videos from the GDC 2019, I think, with the philosophy of one of the co-founders of the AI of Sweet Baby Inc. telling that if you don't get what you want, you're going to your marketing. I'm paraphrasing. You're going to do your marketing part of the business, and you just make basically some threats telling that they're going to have a PR nightmare if they don't abide by their demands, let's say. So it's basically an extortion scheme to a certain degree. But yeah, with that, there's been around. That's why I'm not showing this, because that much the tweet stuff, because they are in Mandarin. So there seems to be some mistranslations here. IGN is in the middle of this because they did some articles regarding this situation. This passed through me because I don't read IGN articles, which is opinion articles there, because again they are a shit show. If they're not even going to do the correct like reporting, journalism reporting things, how am I going to trust that what they are saying in their opinions? They don't interest me to those opinions. That's why a lot of stuff passes through me, because I'm not even paying attention to these guys. I try to focus on more positive things. But yeah, this is now exploding a little bit. You got Grumps to a certain degree that basically summarizes the situation here. Basically we had Wukong. They cite IGN because of the articles of the trying to defame them to a certain degree, and consulting companies such as Sweet Baby Inc. as part of the shakedown record of $7 million in fees. And basically this is the Sweet Baby Inc. King Belair explanation. If they don't see the value of what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, and then it continues, and just terrify them. This is after going to the marketing department there, and then tell them and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. So it's extortion. This is the definition basically of extortion. And yeah, and of course, being a racket scheme, and the fact that there is supposedly, at least the latest number that I saw, $30 billion market here of consultancy firms of the acronym mafia kind of people. Basically, it's how it makes. It's the threats from the DI consultancy firms, hire us or else. Then you got I don't know where they make money out of this. Maybe it's the rage clicking and the rage bait there on clickbaiting on the stuff that they do, but the supposedly reporters support the racket by writing hit piece articles and run defense for the consultancy companies, play down the racket as a conspiracy theory. Then you got certain journals have this Alisa Mercanti writes hit piece on Cabruto's Rambo for exposing Sweet Baby Inc.'s long list of ruined games. One of the most famous pieces from her is I think the title runs as let me remember, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do, something on those lines. So it's the cover-up kind of a thing. Then we got this Rebecca Valentine, which is the IGN person, I think. Defense Elise and writes hit piece article on Wukong leading to the shakedown. Then we got this Jason Schreier, which the guy is relatively good, even though I heard some stuff that from the Activision Blizzard stuff, the overall blowout of the things that they were doing, like sexual assaults and everything on the higher ups. They have the Epstein or whatever it is rooms, shit, weird stuff like that. I think he knew about it. He had all the info there, but he sat on for around 2 years and did nothing, something like that, to expose them. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, everything that they do, even though sometimes it gets right here and there. But yeah. Then this guy, Jason Schreier, gaslights you when it's all exposed. This is the latest article that it made, saying it's an hallucination, didn't happen. I think it has to do when it was poking around. I think it was related to Assassin's Creed Shadows, something like that. There was going about asking what the problem is, and nobody, because he didn't pull the thread, and basically nobody. It's one of those things. If it is, everybody is on the threat of being fired if they go about and don't support this scheme of racketeering. Yeah, people will not talk out of their mouths just because you are a reporter, and basically because nobody talked about it, supposedly it's not happening. But whatever. And yeah, basically it sure seems like it's all part of multi-million-dollar racket. In fact, DEI, the acronym Mafia Consulting, it's a huge industry. Yeah, they call us grifters, but they're the ones making bank. Yeah, they are putting studios to the ground. They make their own money on the consultancy fee, and then they don't just give a shit. Again, a lot of people don't give a shit. There are very few people on this kind of circle that they are really ideologues. We got some cuckoo guys or cuckoo people here, but yeah, this kind of extortion, it's all about the money. They find like a pitch for the extortion. In this case, is going to be DEI, because there is a lot of money in there. Many, again, because these huge corporations take a cut on interest rate on the loans they make to make their games, by making some of this consultancy, DEI consultancy firms to be injected on the project. So they have the checklist. They got the checklist signed and stamped by this DEI consultancy. They talk about to the people that are borrowing money from to get lower interest rates, and that's how the circle jerk to a certain degree goes. But then again, this is all about the money. It's not about inclusion. At the end, this is just a smoke screen and gaslighting you, because they really, deep down, they don't care too much. It's just a few, and usually it's probably just like sick people like Alisa Mercantis, one or two reporters here that might really ideologues on their way of going about it, thinking that there is no representation there. We need to put more, we need to artificially represent everything, everywhere, every time. But yeah, the big guys there that are the co-founders of these companies, that are the big wigs that you usually don't see about them, they just want the money. They don't care about the representation, marginalized communities. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They just want the money and live off well from other people's issues. Basically, that's my gist regarding this. And they did well, even though there is supposedly some controversial statements from the Wukong kind of higher ups trying to make some comparisons again. We have to make it in context. Maybe there are some referential stuff that they make regarding making a game, telling this like being a pregnant person. I don't know what kind of reference they are going to they are making there. Again, Mandarin is very tricky. It's like Japanese. You can get the overall message, but if going to take the translation by its letter without having any kind of context and nuance on the translation, you get yourself you lose yourself in the weeds. It's if you take the case of translating the Chinese text from, for example, an Elden Ring game, which has to be have to be taken with a grain of salt, every kind of to the letter translation of the text from Japanese to English. If you don't have somebody that knows the culture, that knows the characters or the kanjis of the language, and try to interpret the meaning of certain things, a lot of stuff, especially from Mandarin and and Japanese, they will lose a lot of the meaning. And there will be occurring some mistranslations, but you might get the gist of what they're trying to get around in the message. But yeah, my main overall thing is good for them that they didn't fall for this 7 million racket here, and hopefully the game is better for it. We'll see how the game will go, even without the DEI thing here. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of Wukong kind of trying to dunk down of these guys, telling they are Eastphobes and whatever it is they're going to call them. But yeah, basically the gist is what I said here. But yeah, other than that, we're just going for the good part, which is gaming deals. We got Dead Space remake. Again, this is a game that I'm doing an active gameplay series here. I do recommend the game, especially at this price point, even the deluxe version there. But the deluxe version is like extra space, suits, and all that jazz, doesn't have like extra content. But yeah, the only nitpick that I have so far is the optimization. It's getting less noticeable to a certain extent the way you go further into the game. I don't know, I have to do with the shade compilation stuff that is it's going to be better, that issue there. I've been noticing a little bit less here and there, but when you notice, you really noticed. But it's just a few seconds on the near loading parts of the levels there. Other than that, the game feels like when I played the first the original Dead Space. Seems what I remember how I played the Dead Space there. But yeah, it's a recommendation regardless, even though it's an EA game. Again, this is a very good remake. We got Resident Evil franchise is still on sale. Again, I will leave all the Resident Evil games there for you to complete your collection. We got System Shock remake. Again, 55% off. Again, if not sure if you're going to like this game, you have a demo to download and try out, so it's always a good thing here. We got also Death Stranding Director's Cut. Again, it's a top recommendation for me. From what I've been playing, excellent mechanics, very Kojima game, and the story is weird like shit, but yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I managed to claim it for free on Epic Game Store a lot of months ago. But yeah, I think it's worth the $20 here, to be fair, and I will probably buy the game here on Steam, because at this moment in time, I Epic Game Store, yeah, when I have a bit because I'm not playing the game that much now at this moment, because I'm busy with Elden Ring and other games. I will probably take a shot on the next promotion here and start. I'm not sure if I'm going to start a new save here, but whatever, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. We got also Pacific Drive 30% off. We got JUN 30% off still, a couple of days till the deal is off. And then we got still Ori games here. This is the first one, Definitive Edition, 75%. And Ori Will of the Wisps, 67% off. And again, this is the same studio that is doing No Rest for the Wicked. It's on the early access at the moment. It seems to be a promising, good game, so hopefully everything goes well there. On GOG, we got Control Ultimate Edition, no DRMs, 75% off. It's the usual price is $10, the Ultimate Edition. So if here or on Steam, it's the same thing. We got Dredge 30% off, around $70 or so. And then we got the Wolfenstein stuff, which is the 2-pack, which is the Old Blood, the New Order, which is 75% as a pack, and then we got Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus. This is the Digital Deluxe Edition. It's got all the DLC stuff. The Season Pass, 85% off. I think it's a great deal. Yeah, eventually I will replay this one, the New Order, but I will start with the Young Blood, Old Blood. Yeah, Old Blood. Then we have to replay New Order, and then I will go for the New Colossus eventually. But yeah, basically this is what I got for you today, guys. Tomorrow is my day off regarding gaming news. I will probably try to stream today and tomorrow. We'll see how that goes, because we are very, very close. 6 days until the DLC comes out from Shadow of the Earth Tree. Yeah, I will wrap up here with the plug on my Patreon as usual. The Patreon is for extra support, is for, at this moment in time, for a better storage solution for me to be able to get backups of the stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So till then, Kunamy Master out.